Hi there, my name is Hunt McKinnon and I'm the president of Relief. You can see I'm wearing a little facial expression, which is a time that we're in, 2020 in the fall. And what we want to do, despite COVID, is to take you on a tour of some of the things that Relief has done for our community, show you some trees we planted and how they've grown, including the first tree that was ever planted. So this tree is in front of Jenkins Art Center. It survived a lot of art installations and other modifications to the campus. It's been maintained by our landscape crews and seen as a valuable tree for our community. It's an indication of how Relief has survived over time, because it's not an accident that Nancy Jenkins, who was mayor at the time of Greenville, was the wife of the chancellor. So planting a tree on the campus in front of right across actually from the chancellor's residence was no accident. And we've had to be politically involved ever since. So here we are at Eastern Elementary. This was the site for Arbor Day, our last one, which we thought would be in the spring, but due to COVID turned out to be in the fall. It was a big success with Hannah Smith with the Ag Extension Agency and Mrs. Money's class doing the program, and there's more about that on the website. We're at the corner of 4th Street and Johnson. This was an area that we planted when we did a big community tree day in Truna. Did about 150 trees in one Saturday morning. And these trees were actually moved from the renovation of the convention center. So this is one of the couple of times that we've done that we've rescued trees. The other one was Dream Park, and then we put some trees in Moywood that were taken, that were going to be cut with a chainsaw, and decided, nah, we'll just move them. So we're at the Rotary Club at the corner of Rotary and Johnson, and this is one of the Japanese maples that we planted last winter, and it's done fairly well. Color's gorgeous and matches color of the Rotary Club. And we're planning on putting another tree here, which that'll continue the street planting. So we're standing here at what looks like just an empty spot in the pavement, but at one point it was a giant oak tree, and there was concern that that oak tree would, since it was hollow anyway, would fall in the building, and it could fall on either building or on the parking lot. So there was concern about the damage due to it being hollow and diseased. So we told the Rotary Club that we would plant 2 trees for the replacement of this tree, which had to come down. And it was sad, but if you think about it, a young tree takes up twice the amount of carbon dioxide as an older tree because of its growth pattern. We're now at the kiosk at the west end of the Greenway. The Greenway is 6 miles long, and this is on Evans Street. And our planting 2 years ago was here, because we put a number of trees, something around 30, all the way up to the intramural fields, ECU campus, and down to Evans Street. This kiosk right here has a map, and this is where we are, right here. We're at the town common now, right by the dog park, and Relief is planted here on 2 occasions. Once, you can see the larger trees here that have color. Those trees are about 10 years old. And then we came back 3 years ago and did some infill planting. You can see those in the distance. This is a really well-used part of the Greenway, right on the edge of the town common, and we also help with the shade garden, maintaining that, and on Warren Street. These trees were planted in our last planting, and were actually part of the commemorative tree program, which we'll tell you a little bit about later. We're at the edge of the Tar River and Dockside, so we'll show you some of the cypress trees that were planted in a bosque at that location. This is Relief's first planting project. We planted these trees that were along the old road that extended down to River Road, which is actually the Greenway. River Road was flooded during Hurricane Floyd in 2000. So that was the beginning of this section of the Greenway, because there were houses all along River Road, right on the river. For example, where the roof is for the shade garden was a house, and the road that leads down, or the path that leads down to the shade garden pavilion, is actually the driveway of that house, and the steps that lead down to the river were part of that property. So the property was all purchased, the road became a greenway, and that was the first greenway link, and the time that our original planning was done. We're at the town commons now, and all the trees that you see around were planted by Relief. This was the warehouse district. Sycamore Hill, the Baptist church, was right over in the corner where the new monument is. And we've had other things that have occurred to make this a more actively used town common. The trees were victims of it, but the biggest battle politically, as we said when we were at the Jenkins Art Center, was that a steamship was planned for here. Not a ship so much as it was supposedly a museum for science and technology and engineering. And in the rendering in the newspaper actually had a prow of a ship. The problem with all that, other than it would have taken our common, is that it looked at this as empty property. And you can see by the number of people walking here and how well used this facility is now, this is not empty property. It's not vacant, it's occupied, and it's an asset to the community, and we made that very clear in opposition to the steamship. So what you see here is the path of the future Greenway, which is going to be one of our community tree days, but you can tell that the future is a little far away. So you see how things lead in this direction back to the town common. Right under where I'm standing is where the pedestrian connection will be underneath the railroad bridge, and then it'll lead off into the west where you see that sand path, and that'll be the pathway for the 1 mile extension. So we're out here at River Park North now, and this is a buckeye that we planted at Arbor Day 4 years ago. We're still out at River Park North. This is one of the commemorative trees from 3 years ago. There's actually 3 trees here. You have a blue ribbon at this one, and then there's a ribbon with a story about Mrs. Gretchen Moore. And with the commemorative tree program, you have a plaque that's in the old city hall. You have a appreciation letter from me, location of your tree, and you're welcome to come out and mark that tree any way you choose and visit it as frequently as possible. We're between River Park North and the airport at this point, and this tree right here is a willow oak, and it was planted 6 years ago when we had Community Tree Day over at River Park North, and planted a lot of seedlings. We actually planted about 100 seedlings in towards the Tar River. This all was a housing project, and after Floyd, when it was flooded, none of it has developed. The only thing that's developed are these trees, which we have 3 street trees here and 6 along the main road to the airport. We're at Sadie Salter School now, and it's at the corner of 10th Street and 14th Street. Our site for our next Community Tree Day, which is 2021, is going to be a remnant piece right here that was left from the 10th Street Connector Bridge project, and is a major gateway into the city, as well as when our planning is finished, which we'll do some drainage work and plant some more trees out here, it'll acknowledge the importance of this community. So the trees that you see here along Arlington are the first plantings that Relief did after the tree that was planted at Jenkins Fine Arts Center. And they have had substantial growth over 35 years. You probably have driven by them for years and never even realized who was responsible. But it's a good opportunity for me to say, we're responsible, we plant trees, and we always appreciate your membership contributions.